The year is 1985. Commodore, the undisputed king of the 8-bit era, is bleeding out. They've just posted a staggering $113 million loss in a single year. Their legendary founder, Jack Tramiel, has defected to their bitter rival, Atari, taking half of the staff with him. Their latest hope, the Amiga 1000, is a commercial bomb, too expensive for homes, too fun for offices. Critics are predicting bankruptcy. The future of the company looks like a spreadsheet of failure. But in a secret project codenamed Lobster, a small team of engineers is building a machine that shouldn't exist. A machine that would go on to sell millions, conquer Europe, and create the blueprint for modern gaming. Today we're looking at the rise, the reign, and the tragic fall of the machine that defined a generation, the Amiga 500. Commodore's salvation came from an unlikely source, Thomas Rattigan, the former CEO of PepsiCo. He realized the Amiga 1000 was a masterpiece trapped in a luxury price tag. His solution? Split the line into two: the high-end A2000 for businesses and the low-cost A500 for the masses. But this sparked a civil war inside the company. The original Amiga team in California felt their baby was being killed. They wanted detachable keyboards and high-end aesthetics. Enter Jeff Porter, the man who led the A500 project. He had a different vision. He knew that to survive, the Amiga had to be a games machine, sold in places like Toys R Us, not just high-end boutiques. Porter was a master of cost reduction. He swapped expensive internal power supplies for external bricks, used cheaper plastic chip packaging, and streamlined motherboards. The result? He slashed the manufacturing cost from over $600 for the A1000 down to just $200 for the A500. Commodore could now sell a 16-bit powerhouse for $500, and they still had amazing margins. Why was the Amiga 500 so much better than its rivals like the Atari ST? It came down to 3 custom chips that were years ahead of their time. Agnus, the heavy lifter, it featured a dedicated blader that could move graphics around without stressing the CPU. Denise, the artist, it allowed for 32 unique colors on screen and revolutionary parallax scrolling. Paula, the musician. While other computers used basic synthesizers, Paula played back samples, real recorded sounds across 4 channels. To developers like Andrew Braybrook, moving from the Commodore 64 to the Amiga was like a driver of an old Ford Anglia waiting for his Lamborghini to arrive. You went from 16 preset colors to a palette of 4096. Suddenly, the arcade at home wasn't a marketing slogan, it was a reality. While Commodore US was still trying to sell the Amiga as a business machine, Commodore UK made a move that changed everything. David Pleasance, the UK marketing director, teamed up with Ocean Software to create the Batman Pack in 1989. It was a bold gamble. They put Batman all over the box. The fact that there was a computer inside was almost incidental. At the height of Batmania, they sold 186,000 packs in just 12 weeks leading up to Christmas. This single promotion brought an estimated 2 million new users into the Amiga ecosystem. It didn't just sell a computer, it crowned the Amiga as the most popular machine in Europe. This was the era of the superstar developers. Psygnosis gave us the jaw-dropping visuals of Shadow of the Beast and the puzzle brilliance of Lemmings. The Bitmap brothers brought a cool, futuristic aesthetic with Xenon 2 and Speedball. Team 17 launched Alien Breed and Worms. These weren't just games, they were experiences that showed off the Amiga's soul. Composers like Chris Hulsbeck pushed the Paula chip to its absolute limit, even using clever tricks to simulate 7 voices on a 4-voice machine. So, what went wrong? In short, management. Shortly after the Amiga's success was secured, the board inexplicably fired Thomas Rattigan. The company was then run from the Bahamas by chairman Irving Gould. Commodore stopped innovating. Instead of funding R&D for a true successor, they released confusing models like the A600, which was actually more expensive to produce than the A500 it was supposed to replace. By the time the PC market caught up and Nintendo and Sega took over the living room, Commodore was out of cash. On April 29, 1994, the company officially went down. The Amiga 500 was a fun ride while it lasted, as Jeff Porter puts it. It was a machine built by geniuses, sold by visionaries, and eventually destroyed by suits. But its legacy is everywhere, from the developers it inspired to the demo scene it birthed. The Amiga proved that a computer didn't have to be a grey box of spreadsheets. It could be a canvas, a concert hall, and a gateway to another world. What was your favorite Amiga memory? Was it the Batman pack or the first time you heard the Turrican 2 soundtrack? Let me know in the comments. And as always, if you've enjoyed this video, you know the drill. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you all in my next video. Cheers!